The 2025 NFL Draft is quickly approaching, and Pittsburgh Steelers fans are anxiously waiting to see who their team will select in the first round. As the draft draws near, numerous analysts have started to hone in on potential picks for the Steelers, and there's one name that has consistently popped up as a likely candidate: Jackson Dart, the quarterback from Ole Mississippi. This growing consensus surrounding Dart as Pittsburgh's first-round pick has caught the attention of many. But, as always, there are several factors that must be carefully considered before jumping to conclusions about this potential selection. Before diving into the specifics of Dart's potential fit with the Steelers, it's important to acknowledge the uncertainty surrounding the quarterback position for Pittsburgh. At the moment, the Steelers have not officially confirmed whether or not they'll be acquiring a veteran quarterback this offseason, and that leaves a lot of question marks about the future of the position. Mason Rudolph currently holds the starting quarterback role, but it's clear that the team is likely evaluating their options, especially considering the uncertainty of their current quarterback's long-term future in the league. This leads to the possibility that Pittsburgh may be looking to select a quarterback in the draft, possibly even in the first round, which brings us back to Jackson Dart. Dart has recently garnered a lot of attention in mock drafts, with many analysts suggesting that the Steelers could very well use the 21st overall pick on him. He's a player that has demonstrated considerable upside during his time at Ole Miss, and it's not hard to see why some believe he could be the right fit for Pittsburgh. Dart's physical tools are impressive, particularly his mobility and accuracy. He's demonstrated a strong ability to make deep throws, and his arm strength is considered NFL-worthy by many scouts. Over the past 2 seasons, Dart has thrown for 52 touchdowns and just 11 interceptions, which is a notable accomplishment at the college level. His ability to move in and out of the pocket, as well as his touch on passes in the intermediate and deep areas of the field, are qualities that would certainly appeal to a team like the Steelers, who are always looking for a quarterback with both mobility and accuracy. However, as enticing as Dart's upside may be, I personally have reservations about selecting him in the first round. This sentiment stems from the fact that I don't believe he's quite ready to be a day-one starter in the NFL, and I think selecting him at 21 might be a bit of a reach. This scenario reminds me of a few years ago when the Steelers opted not to trade back in the first round and instead selected a quarterback who, in my opinion, wasn't a true first-round talent. While Dart certainly has some impressive physical traits, such as his mobility and deep ball accuracy, I'm not convinced that he has the star potential that a first-round quarterback selection should ideally possess. When evaluating his game, I see a quarterback with some real potential, but who might end up being a mid-tier starter in the NFL rather than a superstar. That being said, Dart does have some redeeming qualities that make him a valuable prospect. His accuracy on touch passes, especially in the middle of the field and down the sidelines, is one of his strongest attributes. He's also a capable rusher, and his ability to make plays with his legs is something that the Steelers' coaching staff would likely appreciate, especially given the demands of playing in the AFC North, where mobility is often a key factor for quarterbacks. His competitive toughness is also something that stands out, and it's clear that he has the mentality and drive that NFL coaches look for in their quarterbacks. On the downside, Dart's struggles in the pocket are a significant concern. He's shown a tendency to get a bit jittery when pressured, which is something that could limit his ability to succeed at the NFL level, especially in a division known for its tough defensive lines. Additionally, his mental processing has raised some red flags. Dart played in an offense at Ole Miss that often gave him very clear reads, and many of his throws were based on RPOs and quick screens. While this is certainly an effective offensive scheme in college, it might not translate well to the NFL, where defenses are more complex and quarterbacks are often required to make quicker, more nuanced decisions under pressure. When considering these factors, it's clear that Dart still has some significant development to go through before he can be relied upon as a starting quarterback in the NFL. For that reason, I've graded him as a second-round prospect, with a more appropriate value being in the third round. It's possible that he could still be selected in the first round due to his potential, but I don't believe he should be a top 21 pick. He's a developmental project who might take some time to adjust to the NFL game, and while he could eventually become a starter, I'm not sure he has the type of star potential that the Steelers should be targeting with such a high pick. One comparison I'd make for Dart is that he reminds me of a lighter version of a well-regarded NFL quarterback. He's not as fast or as precise as some of the top quarterbacks in the league, but he shares many similar traits with those players. Like them, he has great touch on deep throws and can make all the throws necessary to succeed at the NFL level. He also possesses the mobility to be a weapon as a runner, which could be particularly useful in a system like the one the Steelers run. However, just like those quarterbacks, his lack of consistent pocket presence is a major concern. While he may have the physical tools to succeed, his struggles in the pocket could be a limiting factor in his development. Given the current state of the Steelers' quarterback room, it seems unlikely that they'll make Dart their first-round pick unless they fail to land a veteran quarterback through free agency or trade. If the Steelers manage to sign a veteran to hold down the position for a few more years, they may look to draft a quarterback in the later rounds to groom for the future, but I don't think they'll take a risk on Dart with their first-round pick. If they do end up needing a quarterback sooner rather than later, however, Dart could very well be their best option, and his selection would make sense in that context. As we move closer to the draft, it's clear that there are a lot of different scenarios that could play out for the Steelers. The possibility of trading down in the draft could also become a key factor, especially if the team believes that they can still land a player like Dart or another quarterback prospect further down the board. Additionally, there are other positions that the Steelers might prioritize, such as defensive tackle, linebacker, or cornerback, depending on how the board falls. Ultimately, the key to success in the draft will be for Pittsburgh to stay true to their needs and not panic into making a selection that doesn't align with their long-term vision for the team. As the Pittsburgh Steelers continue to evaluate their options for the 2025 NFL Draft, the possibility of trading down in the first round remains a significant topic of discussion. While selecting a quarterback like Jackson Dart has been a common prediction, the Steelers have several other areas of need that could influence their decision-making process. If they were to move back in the draft, they would likely have the opportunity to add more assets, including additional picks in the second and third rounds. This approach could be particularly valuable for Pittsburgh, given their focus on building a well-rounded team with depth across multiple positions. In this scenario, trading down could allow the Steelers to still address their quarterback situation later in the draft while reinforcing other key areas of their roster. One player who has garnered attention as a potential first-round pick for the Steelers, even in the event of a trade down, is Derek Harmon, a defensive tackle from Oregon. Harmon has quickly become a favorite among many analysts, who have pointed out his explosive abilities and disruptive presence on the defensive line. If Pittsburgh were to move back a few spots, they could potentially land Harmon without sacrificing too much in terms of draft capital, while also adding an extra pick or two in the process. This could be an excellent way to bolster the defensive line, which remains a priority for the Steelers, especially as they continue to look for players who can step in and contribute immediately. What makes Derek Harmon an intriguing prospect for Pittsburgh is his ability to make an immediate impact. Known for his explosiveness off the line of scrimmage, Harmon can disrupt plays from the moment the ball is snapped. His quickness and agility, combined with a good amount of power, allow him to beat offensive linemen in various ways, including through bull rushes and more finesse-based techniques. Though not considered elite in any one area, Harmon is a well-rounded player with a variety of pass-rushing moves that could make him a key asset in the Steelers' defensive scheme. His physical traits are complemented by a strong work ethic and a competitive nature, which are qualities that the Steelers' coaching staff values highly in their defensive players. While Harmon is not without his flaws, most notably some inconsistency with tackling, his potential for disruption in the interior is undeniable. His ability to penetrate the backfield and create chaos for opposing quarterbacks and running backs could make him a valuable asset, especially in a division where strong defenses are crucial to success. As Pittsburgh continues to evolve its defensive strategy, Harmon's skill set could be a perfect fit, providing them with a player who can step in and make an impact right away. The idea of selecting him in the first round, especially after a trade down, makes a lot of sense if the Steelers are looking to shore up their defensive front while also gaining more resources for future drafts. Another intriguing aspect of Harmon's game is his ability to learn from and adapt to the veteran players around him. In discussions about his game, many analysts have noted how Harmon's style of play resembles that of certain veteran players, with a similar physicality and explosiveness that has made them successful at the NFL level. With the possibility of a veteran player mentoring him for a couple of years, Harmon could develop into a dominant force along the defensive line. This type of transition, learning from an established player while preparing to take on a starting role in the near future, could be the ideal scenario for Pittsburgh, ensuring that they continue to develop their defensive line into one of the most formidable units in the league. As the Steelers weigh their options, it's also worth noting the broader trends and predictions surrounding the 2025 draft. Analysts have highlighted several other positions of need for Pittsburgh, including cornerback, linebacker, and offensive line, all of which could be addressed in the early rounds. The Steelers have made it clear that they are focused on building a balanced team that can contend for championships in both the short and long term. This means that while quarterback is a key area of focus, there are several other positions that could take priority depending on how the draft board falls. For example, cornerback is a position that has received considerable attention, especially in the wake of some recent changes to the Steelers' secondary. With the need for a lockdown corner, it's possible that Pittsburgh could select a player like a defensive back from Texas or Georgia, both of whom have the skills to play in the slot or as a boundary corner. These players are versatile and experienced in various defensive schemes, making them ideal candidates for a Steelers team that thrives on adaptability and scheme versatility. Given the importance of cornerback play in the AFC North, where teams like the Ravens and Bengals rely heavily on their passing games, strengthening the secondary could be a top priority for Pittsburgh. As we move further into the draft season, it's clear that the Steelers will have plenty of options, both in terms of positions and potential players. While the quarterback position is undoubtedly one of the most discussed topics, it's important to remember that Pittsburgh has the flexibility to go in a variety of directions based on the draft dynamics. Whether they end up selecting a quarterback like Jackson Dart or a defensive prospect like Derek Harmon, the Steelers have the opportunity to build a roster that can compete for the long haul. The team strategy should focus on adding pieces that will not only help them in the immediate future, but also ensure that they remain a competitive force in the league for years to come. In the final analysis, the decision the Steelers make in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft will be crucial to their future. While the quarterback position is undoubtedly important, the Steelers cannot afford to overlook other areas of need, such as defensive line, secondary, and offensive line. As the team prepares for the draft, it will be fascinating to see how they navigate the process and which players they ultimately decide to target. One thing is for certain: the Steelers' front office will be carefully evaluating every option available to them, looking for the best way to improve the team both now and in the future. Whether it's a quarterback, a defensive tackle, or another player, the 2025 NFL Draft could be a pivotal moment in the Steelers' continued evolution as a team. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The Pittsburgh Steelers' bold pursuit of Patrick Mahomes, a game changer in the making. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers are making a daring push to acquire Patrick Mahomes, the generational talent who has defined a new era of quarterback excellence. The mere thought of Mahomes donning the iconic black and gold has fans and analysts buzzing, as Pittsburgh, a franchise steeped in history, seeks to secure the ultimate weapon to reignite its Super Bowl aspirations. But can the Steelers pull off what seems like an impossible feat? Mahomes, the three-time Super Bowl champion and two-time NFL MVP, has been the face of the Kansas City Chiefs since taking over as their starter in 2018. Under his leadership, the Chiefs have become a dynasty, making 6 consecutive AFC Championship game appearances and redefining offensive football. However, with the complexities of NFL contracts, salary cap constraints, and potential internal shifts in Kansas City, Pittsburgh appears to be testing the waters, hoping to lure Mahomes into a new challenge. For the Steelers, the appeal is obvious. Despite their rich legacy, Pittsburgh has struggled to find an elite quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger's retirement. While Kenny Pickett showed promise, the franchise's brass understands that a player of Mahomes' caliber instantly transforms them into perennial contenders. Pairing Mahomes with Pittsburgh's ferocious defense and an arsenal of playmakers could reshape the AFC landscape, presenting a formidable challenge even to his current team, the Chiefs. But the road to Mahomes is anything but straightforward. The Chiefs inked him to a historic 10-year, $503 million contract in 2020, making him the cornerstone of their dynasty. For Pittsburgh to make this dream a reality, they would need to craft a blockbuster deal involving a historic haul of draft picks, key players, and likely some creative salary cap maneuvering. The question remains, would Kansas City even entertain the idea of parting ways with their franchise icon? While the odds may seem slim, the very fact that the Steelers are exploring this possibility speaks volumes about their ambition. In an era where elite quarterbacks dictate the fate of franchises, Pittsburgh's willingness to make a bold move underscores their urgency to return to the NFL's mountaintop. Whether this pursuit materializes into a stunning reality or remains a tantalizing what-if scenario, one thing is certain. Steelers Nation is dreaming big. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.